Welcome to this episode of Harvey County Talk. I am your host, Lance Gormley.
And I am your co-host, Sissy.
HC Talk is an HCD podcast.
Tell us what's happening in Harvey County.
Our sponsor for this episode is MTO Commercial and Residential Cleaning Services. MTO has been, still is, and always will be a locally owned and operated company. Paula started MTO in 1994 and has been serving Harvey County residents ever since. If you're looking for a one-time clean or a weekly, bi-weekly, or a monthly spruce-up, no need to worry. MTO gives free estimates. Give Paula a call at 316-288-9141. That's 316-288-9141. Our guest on the program today is Zach McHatton, who is the Community Development Director for the City of Newton, also known as Choose Newton. Is that right, Zach?
Yes, Choose Newton, or the Community Development Commission, referringly loved to as the CDC.
CDC, that's
CDC,
nice. That's actually kind of nice. Locally, that means something good.
It can.
Yes, it does. I promise you.
Sometimes it's mixed. I don't know if we're going to do a name change yet, but to be determined.
I don't know. I think it's one of those things that it's a coined phrase, and it might actually bring, and conjure up like, no, it's not the first thing, it's the second thing. So it's always the second thing,
Right.
At least locally anyway.
Right.
I just think it means... obviously, something's been going on around here. I'm driving around and I'm seeing some stuff, and it appears as though, we're seeing some pretty awesome things happening with housing and development and all kinds of things that are building and improving around here.
Yeah, if you're paying attention, you can see we got a little bit momentum going, so we're just going to capitalize on that as much as we can and keep moving forward.
Absolutely. Well, I want to say thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
We I know how busy of a person you are, and I know that
we're all busy.
Yeah, we are all busy.
We're all busy.
I love it. That is a true statement. I would say we're all busy. Just the nature of the beast now with life, I think. But I would say you're busy at work, given all the things I'm seeing being produced, and not just from you, but your team and then the city as a whole. And when tracking down somebody that's in the know for all the things that are going on in the community, you're that man.
We are starting to fire on all cylinders. So, yeah, we are busy, and I believe our mayor has said it many times, we're at that critical mass, and the train has officially left the station. So no going back. Just
no going back.
Along for the ride.
And hope to goodness you are here to stay for a long time.
I'm on the train.
All right. Awesome. I love it. I love the reference. We are railers here in this community, by goodness.
Yes, sir.
So I guess before anything, kind of the style of the program, I know you've seen the program before, we talked about it.
I'm a fan.
That we just open it up to learn about, who's Zach? How did Zach find himself here in Newton? Because, there's a life before you stepped on our doorstep. So where did Zach come from?
Well, my hometown's El Dorado. I'm a Wildcat, so I've been in the Ark Valley League all my life. And then I was down in Wichita and took a job in Hayesville I worked there for about 15 years. I was in planning and zoning, public works, and a little bit of everything. And then I went into economic development, found my calling. And then my hometown of El Dorado had called to recruit, and the position was going to be coming available. Unfortunately, it was going to be a lateral move for me at best, so I had to do what was right for my family and not take that position. However, in that process, I did have a contact who just happened to be the city manager of Newton, Kelly McElroy, and I said, "Hey, will you be my reference? Because I'm very happy in my bubble, and I don't want to go anywhere. But hey, I just need somebody that I can be comfortable calling on." And she's like, "You're looking for a job?" And I'm like, "Well, I guess I am." So next thing happened, it was over a quick Christmas break, did 2 panel interviews here, and loved the culture, loved the town. Obviously, being in the Ark Valley League all my life, I'm very familiar with Newton. I remember days growing up where we'd come to the Outlet Mall, and that was a big event. So Newton, no stranger to Newton. So, but that's kind of the short version of how I got here.
Okay, so where did you go to college at?
I went to KU and great University of Wichita State. So
So would you consider yourself a Jayhawker or a Jay-Shocker?
Jayhawk. I owe them way too much money. So.
Well, I always wondered if you did that. Would that make you a Jay-Shocker?
I don't know. I think so. We can
just assume. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
Right.
I'm good with trying to create, names and things to things. So we'll try to go with that.
I
don't crucify me if I'm wrong.
I get the I get to claim them both. So
okay. Yeah.
Go with that.
But you're a shocker.
I am a shocker.
Okay, awesome. And I'd say good job on that. I'm a shocker
Thank
as
you.
well. Yeah, I love Wichita State University. So,
yeah.
But, okay, so how did you find yourself in the vein, I'm guessing you have a specific education to do economic development or something. How did you find yourself? Like you said, I worked in a few different arenas, and then I had the opportunity to get involved in economic development, and that's your calling.
Right.
So how did you do that?
Yeah, my degree's in economics, and so I get to actually utilize the degree I have, which is not the same for everybody. But being in public works and seeing how a city's infrastructure truly works from the ground up really helped. And then going into planning and zoning and having that background, knowing the technical side of things before I even got into the community development side of things, I was glad to have that background, because that just sets me up with a different set of skills, because I may or may not be a little bit of a social butterfly, and the networking thing, I had that handled before I was in any of those positions. So just a good segue. And then, like I said, found my calling and cut my chops in Hayesville and brought my toolbox here to Newton.
Yeah, and that was how long ago now?
2.5 years now.
Yeah,
and
so you've been around for a minute.
I'm blinking.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of interesting. You look back and you probably think, man, I've been here for 2.5 years already. And then to see kind of the accomplishments
when you start, and especially when you start seeing things that are on paper and going to pavement and to product, it's economic development is a lot of hurry up and wait. It's a timing thing. So, but now that we're seeing some sticks go up and some dirt turning, that's when you start seeing that momentum and people see it and it starts generating a little bit of a buzz. And that's what we're trying to capitalize on. When I got here, I think we had 7 new home builds for in the first year, and now we're last year we were at 37. Blew that out of the water, and we're already at 19 this year with $4.7 million in valuation just on the new home construction. And that's not even counting the permits that are pulled. That's just homes. So our valuation is going to continue to increase like that. And then we'll go ahead and say GAF. Them coming to town. It's not the GAF that's coming. It's just like I tell people with like the Amazon plant. It was never Amazon specifically. It was they opened up a 1 million square foot facility, but then right next door to them, Pratt Industries, their main paper and packaging supply, opened up 900,000 square feet and moved operations over there. So, GAF is just the place setting, and then we're gonna see a lot of residual coming off of that. And but there again, it's that hurry up and wait. GAF alone, they are about a 3-year wait from paper to product, and they are an engineering firm, and I know that they're probably going to spend a lot of time over engineering their facility.
Well, and it's interesting that you kind of where you're at, and the conversation that we're having is primarily focused on economic development, right? So for the audience, you came here to Newton to be the community development director. So what exactly is just kind of explain a little bit for the audience, like, what do you do?
Well, community development is just about everything. So it's the housing. When I first, I didn't try to take on anything when I first got here. I was just going to kind of let it happen. And I let it happen, and it sure did happen. So I took the main goal of our housing situation to heart, because that was our commission's strategic goals. The first 2 goals are housing. So definitely taking that to heart, and that's what we've been really wrapped up in, working with our builders, our developers, making sure their needs are met, and they're not waiting on us. And then taking it to things like the Wichita Area Builders Association, and really amplifying and telling our story. I mean, that's really what I am, as a storyteller, because I promise you, people are telling our story whether we are or not. So capture that narrative back, and doing things like this. That's it's everything from retail to the parks to everything. I've got probably a hand in it, or I've had a conversation about it. So,
and you mentioned something that seems like a key phrase I've heard a lot. With one of the things that Newton is trying to do better at, or be the best at, and that is that if we are not here, as far as you, me, and those who love our community and love being part of our community and the things that happen in our community, are not being vocal about that and actively participating in making those things better, then somebody else is going to be telling that story. So let's tell our story. And that's something that I think both of us are kind of trying to do.
I look at our corridor there. We are the end cap of the corridor. And we are the end cap to Wichita, North Wichita, and that whole corridor is exploding. And what's good for my neighbor is good for me in this situation. And that's so I celebrate when we have the microprocessing company coming through. We're talking 1,200 jobs. Amazon coming through, all the casino announcements, all that stuff. If we can just capture a fraction of that, which I do believe we will, and we're seeing, the people coming in from rural Western Kansas. Oh yeah, they want to be closer to medical services, and I couldn't think of a better fit than a town like Newton that has all the medical services and the small town feel all wrapped up into one.
You're striking a chord with me because I did my elementary school years in Western Kansas, and it was a town of 200 people and school system that just got shut down, type of thing. It's consolidation and all this. And over the course of my life, I've just watched this area become more and more socioeconomically depressed. I hate to say it. And there's so many things that work there, but still yet there is a migration happening. And most people that are moving from Western Kansas are looking to Newton, are looking to this central location outside of Wichita that's within their ability to be with very easy access to Wichita.
And just look at how North Wichita's, it's like North Wichita's turn. You know, we've been dealing with West Wichita and what they did to Maize, because let's be real, West Wichita happened to Maize.
Yes.
And that's not the case. We have all the services all wrapped up. Senior centers and or not senior center, but like our hospital complex, medical complex. We have all the things, all the infrastructure, all the things already there. We don't have to go anywhere for that. And it's we're not an island, but we could survive as.
And
one.
we could talk about Newton Medical Center, wonderful place. I was just talking to somebody the other day. All three of my children were born there, and then I had a great experience with that, and no problems. And we just have so many awesome things to offer. And interesting. So you're the guy that just gets to promote that. You're the city guy that comes in and says, "Hey, we've got all of these awesome things. NMC is awesome. We have good parks. We have highlight all of our qualities." Right. And then something was interesting. I know we had a stick point when it came to housing, and you first mentioned housing, and we are seeing a lot of housing go in and just progressively moving forward in the right direction. And I remember there was a stick point there. Do you think that one of the key things that really needed to happen was that there was somebody that needed to go out and sell Newton to those people and say, "Hey, we are a great place to build. This is why it's a strategic win for you. This is why, this," because which also solves another problem where Newton didn't have any place for people to move. We just had no housing. Can't live in Newton because there's no place to live at that time.
There may or may have been a CEO living like in Cottonwood Crossing for a while because they were waiting on housing to be built. And, they're waiting list on that. We're just trying to fire on all cylinders, but also not overbuild to the demand. So there's a delicate dance to that. And we're just going to see how it plays out and see what we got in the housing side and let it roll. But you got to give them a place to come. It's Field of Dreams stuff there.
So how does a person, you mentioned that I know that you go to shows and stuff. So you go around to other like fairs and shows and stuff and just basically, once again, just go out of your way to try to project what Newton is to the greater community in an effort to try to get them to be attractive to us.
I think a perfect example of that is the Wichita Area Builders Association, where the first year we did it solo. This past year invited Carly in with the school district and brought the school district in too, because we're also telling that story, right? So, for me, the school district is a primary economic driver. People are coming to your town for your school district, and that's a big deal. So, to have Carly be able to be there and tell her side and really just highlight some things on the school district. I look forward to working with her again this year coming up on next year's Waba Home Show. It's in March, so WSU did a study on it. 30 good weekend, 20 to 30,000 people come through, and they estimate about $40 million is generated in all of that. But what we're there for is not necessarily to sell houses. We're there to sell Newton. So we've got our CVB coordinators there. I had several women came up to me and it was just like, "Hey, we do, me and my sisters and I, we like to go to different towns and shop and do lunch. To me, here's our visitor's guide or restaurants.
We got some pretty cool places.
Come shop our downtown.
Make a habit.
Right. And come visit us." So that's a win right there. Yeah. So there's just so many varying degrees on all of that. And people aren't probably at the that demographic at the Waba Home show is probably not going to come up there and tell you they don't like you to your face or anything like that. So the people that are stopping a lot of times, they're Newtonians. We had 6th generation Newtonian last year come and stop and just tell their story. I think we had 2 people from the class of 65 come in, class of 83, and a few others that we were just kind of taking names on that and just really capturing their stories, because they have some stuff that's kind of a soothsayer thing that will get lost in history if somebody doesn't record it. So
and I could live other places, and I choose Newton.
You choose
Newton. Really choose Newton for so many reasons, and no community goes without its things, right? No community goes without its things, but at the same time, a lot of how a community evolves has to do with, once again, going back to, I like the festivals that we have around here. I like all the things that we have. I like being able to take my kids to the pool and not being so full of people they can't get in it. I like, at some point in time, I get to go to the park and enjoy athletic park. And I'm kind of a pro Newton guy, so you're getting me riled up, and I'm thinking, man, you must have a really cool job.
I do.
Can I volunteer for to do something to help, or is that what I'm doing right now?
You are.
Yeah,
you are doing it.
I love this plan.
I get fired up too. It's fun to be excited about development, especially when it's happening at to the degree it's starting to happen to us. We're no longer making the calls; the phone's starting to ring on our end now, and that's a good problem to have.
Well, and then the big things that we can see right now. I would just wanted you to touch base, and I don't know. I know there's all kinds of things you can and can't say, but just thinking about the Quick Trip coming here,
huge,
big deal. Huge. I'm glad that, and that's a truck stop, if I'm not right. So I mean, we're talking about the huge benefit, and even then, Quick Trip is top of the line quality.
They sure are.
Convenience.
Sure.
I mean, they just are. They're just like the best. I'm just Quick Trip. You're the best in my opinion. I'm sorry, nothing against Quick Shop or Phillips 66 or anybody else or anything indifferent. But if I see a Quick Trip, I go to the Quick Trip,
right?
Because of all the things that they do. And I even read at one point in time that every year, based on their sales, they take a portion of that and they turn that back around and invest it in the community as a rule of thumb. And they're a safe place. Okay, so we got an awesome rock star Quick Trip coming in, in my opinion.
And similar to, it's not Quick Trip, it's what comes in around Quick Trip. They'd like another hotel to come around, which we're trying to site and fill up our hotel corridor. We have a kind of a hotel issue right now, and we're trying to resolve those problems. There's no short-term fixes, but for the long-term, definitely we need some more capacity.
Well, we got a lot of space.
Well, when the hotel next door to the Meridian Center can't take a wedding, that means the Meridian Center can't take a wedding.
Yes.
So we've got to solve those issues.
Yeah, and wow, we're
good problems though. Great problems.
Good problem. And then I was even thinking about all the things that people will follow with a Quick Trip. Like, I mean, you're talking about a huge influx in traffic. What does that mean for who gets off the road with a flat tire?
Right.
You name it.
They like to see Club Car Wash, stuff like that around them. I mean, there's all sorts of place setting stuff going on there.
Mm-hmm. They're a big mecca for traffic. Right. Absolutely. And we're right off. I mean, it's finally paying off. Yeah. So how does one go about, like in a Quick Trip scenario or situation, let's just say, not specifically, but generally, as an economic development or community development coordinator, I'm getting it confused. I'm getting my CDC. Yeah, that's you. Okay, so that's why we do
CDC.
That. Okay, so with that, how does an individual go about entering into situations where Quick Trip didn't have to build here, right? So there's got to be a conversation that takes place where they come and they say, hey, we're looking at a place to build, or is it more of a, hey, we have a really cool place for you to build?
It depends. It's different every time. Okay. But a lot of times that goes with the site selection. They're site selectors. They come in, they put out, kind of the same thing that happened with Starbucks. I was on the phone with their site selection crew and giving them the details, how much like our Walmart grossed and all that good stuff. Yes. So all those details that just really sold it. And I could get the Walmart numbers, but I couldn't get Subway numbers for the Starbucks. And he goes, well, do you have anything to add? And I go, well, the handful of times that I've eaten lunch there at Subway, I go, the shelves are full of sandwiches and scrubs are coming in to get it. And I go, I promise you the scrubs are going to come for that cup of coffee. So
absolutely.
So it's just stuff like that. Every industry or every business is different and they handle it differently. But for the most part, it's site selection. It's having those non-disclosure conversations, and then you just kind of say, hey, this is what we've got, and then they say, hey, here's what we've got, and you try to find that X, where those 2 points intersect.
This is traveling into like your opinion here, just an opinion question.
All right.
I know you're an official and all, but an opinion question. Do you believe that in your years of experience that it's becoming more difficult to attract businesses in general, or do you think that it's becoming we're reaching a point where people are just wanting to grow?
Well, I think people are wanting. I think it's both. I think people are wanting to grow. I don't know. Reframe it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Ask it again. Hold on.
Okay, so
I'm trying to think of my opinion.
If I can remember here, basically, is it in your capacity? Does it seem like in the general market that people are wanting to grow and invest and obviously, right? Or is it seeming like it's becoming more difficult to do that?
No, I think it's becoming easier. I think like retail is difficult right now. Retail is these site selectors have their numbers that they need to hit for malls and everything else to where we might not touch on those for a few years, but we're still having those conversations with those site selectors and still trying to recruit them in and saying, give them it's just a yearly update, hey, we still got this going on, but now we've added a quick trip. Now we've added, our portfolio is expanding. So it's a mix, but once we start investing in ourselves, which is like our Kansas Main Street program, like where there's we're now starting our new campaign where you can donate to the beautification of our downtown. And I think that's just starting to see that reinvestment, and it's going to take our own to reinvest, because that's the rule of business retention is that 80-20 rule. You need to be focused on that 80% of what you have, because that's where your expansion is going to come from, not necessarily that 20% of that new growth. So that's, I guess, my opinion.
No, that's very good.
Clear?
That answered my question completely, and I apologize because I asked the question in a strange way, and then when you were thinking about it,
I was trying to go back to it. Sorry,
and then I was thinking, okay, I got to ask this differently.
Reframe it.
Yeah, right. Sorry, my bad. I should just have been more. Yeah, but okay. So choose Newton.
Yes.
All right. I know we just barely covered that, even in the introduction, but what exactly, when people hear choose Newton, what is Choose Newton? Choose Newton
is to me, it's my economic super group. It's my think tank. We've got a great group of people now that, we've been crafting some tools in the toolbox. We've established the land bank, and we've established the Kansas Main Street program, which is also kind of in that umbrella. So it's just a catch-all for everything, because it is. Why do you choose Newton? It has to be all the things. It has to be our downtown. It has to be our housing. It has to be all the things. Why are you choosing Newton? That's the story I'm going to tell tomorrow. At the chamber breakfast where we're presenting. It's not going to be on this is the 411 of the land bank, and here is the Kansas Main Street program. Yeah, we're going to, showcase our flyers for the donations for downtown. But I'm going to give a real life example of an organization that just chose Newton, and that is the United States Golf Association. They have selected us for their third U.S. Adaptive Open. People with mental disabilities, physical disabilities. You've got veterans who
PTSD.
Yeah, they're on blades and they're out there playing golf, and awesome. This is their major. This is their major championship. This is their U.S. Open, and I had the privilege to be our ambassador to go out there and see that golf tournament. And I can't tell you the tears, the chills, and everything. It's life changing. These people, some of them can't even get out of bed on their own, and here they are strapped to a golf cart and their own contraption, and they're able to hit the ball. For our veterans who do have that PTSD, the golf is therapy. And as the promo video says, they've won the two biggest games in life, the game of life and the game of golf. And it's so inspiring. And I'm so excited for our community to be able to be selected like that. It speaks testament, but I won't steal too much of Chris's thunder from Sand Creek.
But that's a big deal.
It's so huge.
That's a big deal. When we
huge.
look at what your community can be selected for, and then you go back to, well, you just have to walk it back. There were people at one point in time, which I'll have to say were awful skeptical of a municipal golf course being built in Newton.
I know.
And then how many years fast forward, and we are on the verge of that golf course having run its course long enough to get enough name recognition, to get enough people played on it, to just be there, to be able to be hosting something like this.
And I forget the numbers specifically, but I know I think they set a record month for last month. So the momentum from COVID for golf, where the trajectory just changed the game. Literally, it really hasn't gone down very much. We're still drawing it in, and it is an asset. We have a very beautiful golf course, and Chris and his team do a fantastic job out there. And
it's rated one of the best municipal golf courses.
It's a gem. It's a gem, and it's not. It's under good management, and that's something that I think the cities like Wichita, where they have multiple, I think it can become quite taxing on a organization. Whereas our golf course is not that way right now, and we're capitalizing on that.
It's a beautiful place.
Beautiful. And some new houses are going up now, and there's a little bit of development happening.
Well, and if I was somebody that was looking at putting a house out on a golf course, I mean, maybe I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but if I was looking to put a house out on a golf course, I don't know if I would be wanting to go and put it where everybody else already put their house. Right? I mean, it's kind of like prime pickings right now, because you can get really close to the green everywhere around, and those houses are already taken, or they have Newton is kind of a really nice place to have school choice. I mean, you're the one supposed to be sitting here promoting this. Why am I promoting this now?
You're holding my hand. That's all good. Thank you.
No, but I mean,
teamwork makes the dream work.
That's right. That's why you are the man. You are
one team, one dream.
Yes, and it's always comforting, in my opinion, because I really want for Newton to be successful. This is my home. This is where I live. I've lived here dang near my whole life. I did have a brief sabbatical because I just was tired of Newton. Everybody knows this. I came back and I just made the decision that there's got to be people that want to change this on a citizen level. Change the direction, I mean, it can't be this constant bad mouthing of my community. Somebody's got to change it somewhere. And then I run into Zach, and it's like, oh, you're the guy that's specifically supposed to be doing some of this stuff. And that is highly interesting to me. And I really am just speaking on behalf of myself. And I'm sure many in the community appreciate you and appreciate
I appreciate everybody's been very welcoming, and again, and not to speak about anything negative, because I know that may or may not be a rule here, but it's easy to be negative. You don't have to really work at it. You can just find your point A to point B problem, and then until that gets resolved, that's your axe to grind, right? And then once you grind it, then what? So try to be positive, and I be the change too. So I try to be the positive light and be the light in the darkness, right? That's what leadership's about. And it's going to take all of us, though, the good and bad and all of it, that we know what we are, own what we are, accept it, and look to change it then. But until you accept it and say, hey, this is where we got to go, it's not going to change. But we're starting to see that change, and that's going to help our self-esteem, which needs a boost, and it's starting to get a boost. But it's going to take some time. Hopefully everybody's just patiently, but I understand that this gig is very much a what have you done for me lately. So we're going to continue to keep trying to going, but I promise you that things are just happening so quick that it's exciting. I'm excited to come to work every day and just know that this is what I get to do. I would not have left 14, 15 years at one place to just come here on a whim.
You're invested.
I'm invested.
Yeah. And it's nice to know that, and I don't want to get too far in the weeds, but just talking about you as the man, we briefly, and then you and the job, and coming full circle with that, you're obviously somebody who's planning on investing here for a long period of time with the knowledge that it takes some time to get this stuff done. You mentioned, from paper to breaking ground to, let's just say, in quick trips, place pumping gas. I have people all the time, when's it supposed to be done? I'm like, I think it's supposed to be done in December. I don't know.
Right.
I'm trying. When it's done, it'll be done. They're not just going to pack up shop and leave.
Right.
So I'm just waiting for. It's like that. It's like that cake in the oven. And I hate to say my life is so Newton, Kansas, right? That I'm like rocking the quick trip. But any improvement, that's a huge one. We're moving in the right direction. It makes our community more attractive, and you're obviously at the helm of that.
Well, thank you. But as our mayor, he likes, if you know our mayor, Mayor Kane, he likes to ask you some questions sometimes that give you a little bit of self-reflection. But I think the last one was, where do you see yourself in 10 years? And I said, honestly, I see myself here because I'd actually like to start enjoying some of the 10-year abatements that we've been getting and start to see the fruits of the labor. It's, I'm one of those people that I will plant trees knowing that I will never enjoy the shade of that tree, but it would be nice to be able to do that. So that's why I'm not going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah. Well,
as long as everybody will have me.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? I mean, I hate to say it, like you said, you're kind of, what have you done for me lately, or performance-based job. And I'm very hopeful that, as you stated before, the momentum is starting to go in our direction. And that means that, the foundation that you laid and the house that you started to build is now going to withstand the storm, and we're going to have a lot to be offered just going farther. I always see places hiring now in Newton. I mean, and not just, they're trying to get some people in different places for some pretty good pay to do some management and other things around here that.
Well, it's just like with GAF out there, it's not just my foundations. That really made me realize when we had a little bit of a struggle, if people were ever keeping tabs, they would know that, but it really circled us around, and it bound us together. And that was the first time that I had really seen a call to action from all the main leadership groups of like, how do we get get this back on the right track, and just seeing everybody work together. I realized, that was like about a $19 million investment that just didn't happen overnight to build all the infrastructure out there. It was premeditated. There was a lot of intention there.
Yes.
And so, it was unfortunate for the history of what happened, but we're here today. We got something locked, solidified, and some people can maybe solidify some legacies there, because they made some calls that were not necessarily popular, but now they're paying off. But they're paying off 15, 20 years later, and that's that shade of that tree that you get to enjoy.
Yeah,
right?
I know. So that's one of them things that's, and I will say myself, I've many times said, there was a road built to nowhere out there, but then now all of a sudden it's kind of like, I might have been right at the time, but now watching what's happening and seeing a company that wants to come here and ultimately, hopefully, I pray. I mean, I do that for us.
They're not here yet, but they're still. They're still close.
Yeah. So if you're listening, we want you here. Regardless of what some of the naysayers and negative people have to say in our community. And I had a question about that. You are optimistic. You are positive. You are upbeat, Zach. Every time I see you, Thanks. You said you're a social butterfly. I think that's an understatement. That's why I love you so much, is because I think we complement each other in that. But how do you get around, and this is more of like about the negativity? Because, you've been here the whole ride, and you've put it from paper, and now it's moving forward. And it seems like in the beginning, the yells and the negative statements were really, really, really loud. And now as this is happening, there's not so many loud voices anymore.
No, it's and it's not so much, like, again, negativity gets amplified. And I always like to say use the 80-20 rule on community. 80% of the population of your community is usually neutral, as long as it's not in their back or front yard. 10% of that population is going to love you no matter what you do, and 10% is going to hate you no matter what you do. And there's the balance, and that's usually who you hear from. So, you just got to take it. I mean, their perception's not necessarily wrong. I mean, it's just that's part of
how they do it.
But it's going to take all things. It's going to take all the things. But until that negativity comes out, you might not know there's an issue to begin with. And that's why my whole philosophy is I'm just going to go with what makes sense to me and go forward and keep making progress. And if I hear no or the negativity, then my question is, why no? Is it something that was no because of something that happened 15, 20 years ago? When I first got here, that was kind of the thing. I would do my introduction of who I was and where I was from. And then it seemed like I let them have like what I deemed the airing of the grievances. They had their acts that something that happened, and I would always tell them, will you please just give me a chance to burn my own bridge? And that's, I am the bridge between the public and the private sector, and let me burn my own bridge. Don't burn it for me on something that happened to in the past. And when I hear no, it's like, well, why was it no? Let's really talk about the no. So it's not so much to ignore the negativity as it is just to embrace it, because if you're not struggling, you're not growing. So that's part of it. And like if it's too good, then it's too good to be true. It's not all roses.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you say that, to be judged by, because a lot of times when it comes to your position, people look at you as part of the city.
Oh yeah,
right. I mean, not saying that everybody does, but I mean, you're the guy that's supposed to make things better around here. Well, it ain't been better in yeah. So there's even that, and that speaks to a level of maturity in you to be able to not get hung up on. You realize you have to take ownership for past choices that you had nothing to do with, and then say, hey, we're going to do our best to try to fix this or make this go forward, and just watch me work and then judge me, 3-5 years down the road at what I've been able to produce.
Well, I'm a public servant. I've been one now for going on 18 years, and it's just I'm okay with it. I've developed a little bit of a thick skin, so even that negativity, just try to be like water and let it just roll right off me. So just keep plugging away. That's all I can do, is keep putting one foot in front of the other and keep making that progress. So
yeah. Well, you're a good communicator. You really are, and I'm seeing something here with the Choose Newton and people getting on board and everything in the community, and we talked about a little bit about negativity and everything. It's really our job, once again, as citizen community members, staff of the city, these partnerships, economic development. It's all of our jobs to communicate to the rest of the world what we think about our community. And interestingly, communities that don't do that die.
Yeah.
If they have no story to tell in this day and age, in this world, if there's not an active campaign to put Newton in front of people in some way, in a digital medium, usually, then there's no opportunity.
And that speaks well to my team with Aaron and Toby really picking up if you notice, the Choose Newton Facebook page and social media is really just taking on another level, and we got some promotional videos. We did some capturing of, so it's easier to tell our stories, because some people can listen to the stories, some people like to watch the stories. So how are you telling your story? You got to meet them where they are, so not everybody's an auditory person. So you gotta combine that with combined forces. So, but they're doing such a great job of telling our story, and that's just part of it. We are in a sense storytellers, but we've got a great one to tell, and then might as well keep telling it.
New library.
Oh, the library. I mean, there's just.
I mean, we could just keep going.
I could write down a list, but I've got a video tomorrow that I'm going to show at the chamber breakfast. A little bit of minute and 20 that'll start making the rounds on social media, but they're going to get the first peek of it, and it's when you see it all together, it's like, oh wow, we do have some development going.
Yes,
there is some stuff going, and for everybody that necessarily takes their point A to point B home, they might not going to see this, and it's just they. Well,
I was almost thinking the other day, I'm not sure you couldn't in the city of Newton right now. I mean, unless you're coming from north into town but other than that, all sides of the town that you're going out southeast. Well, I mean, there's development that's happening on the outskirts of town, and even the north side over there. We just recently had something with pre-stressed concrete, correct? Where they were able to have their property to where it's aren't annexed in the city of Newton, basically.
Running water service to them, and then with
Same
that
full vision,
and with those services, what that allows us to do is to capture more growth as it expand and go on out, and we're just building up as we go.
That's right.
So
Newton is the place to come.
It is.
Live, work,
choose Newton,
and play. Choose Newton.
Choose-Newton.com. And then our website right now we're still building. So as it takes a village.
Yeah, well, you got a YouTube channel too.
We got a YouTube channel
and
now.
And that's Choose Newton.
Choose Newton. We're starting to fire on all cylinders.
Facebook,
we've got a great team. The wheel is definitely not broken. We're rolling right along.
Yeah, so if you want to find it, you can find it. Just look up Choose Newton.
Choose Newton. We're now. We weren't for a while, but we're now, I believe, up there in the Google search. Now I think we're coming in on top.
That's good. Dang it! Dang it! Can't be in competition with you,
I know, right?
Dang government agency and all.
Wait till we bring in AI, and then it's really going to get crazy.
Oh yeah. Hey, we'll have to have you back on the program at some other point in time with AI.
That's a whole
it's interesting.
Another animal.
Use
coming.
it and run with it.
Embrace it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Embrace it.
It is a tool that can be used to benefit so many people. Just like any tool, you can use it for wrong, but the majority of the time, it is able to just make our lives so much better.
You use your power for good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Be the light.
Okay. So I know we didn't cover everything, but we covered a lot. And I really appreciate, I'll say it again, having you come out on the program because, Zach, what you're doing is amazing. I believe in every way that we're going to see the fruits of your labor and those individuals' labor that have invested so much over their career and time here. And I really believe and truthfully believe that Newton is starting to have the sun rise on.
It is. The
really
pendulum is swinging.
Yes, it is. And it hasn't for a long time. So speaking to the people that want to be negative and still maybe listen to this video or say anything negative about Newton, we're kind of leaving you in the past because the world in which you lived is not the same world in which Newton is today. And that has a lot to do with Zach here. So knuckle bump, Zach. Okay.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. I want two things. I want you to give your contact information again, so that way people can reach out to you if they have ideas or anything, or all the same. And then you get a chance to speak directly to the hearts and minds of the audience and say whatever you want to say, Zach.
Oh no, I wasn't warned about this.
I love it.
It's my email is zmchatton, and that's at newtonkansas.com, or you can find me through the Choose Newton social media. The message will get to me. So Send me a line. I love doing lunch, talking shop. I'm no stranger to that. So please reach out. If you have concerns, questions, need clarification, I'll clarify as much as I'm allowed to. But no, thank you for having me. And hopefully this isn't the
it won't be the last time.
Make
Absolutely
it
not.
more of a habit.
Yes, because as we progress forward, there's going to be a lot more to talk about.
We've got a lot more to talk about coming up. So we got to keep them wanting more, right?
Yes.
We can't say
you cannot
everything,
stop.
Right?
That's right. The next time on the next episode, you'll hear about other things that are stewing in the pot and getting ready to be cooked up for your enjoyment, so you can eat that stew.
Oh yeah.
And cornbread and stew.
And Choose Newton.
Choose Newton.
Choose Newton.
Okay, so I know you didn't do it. Did you? You have to speak. You have to give like one last word of wisdom to somebody about something in the audience.
Well, hey, teamwork makes the dream work, and many hands make light work. So we are a community, and if we just band together, and it makes that progress so much easier and then so much sweeter to enjoy when we all get to enjoy it together. So I'm very community spirited, and I'm happy to be here, and thank you for welcoming me. Thank you.
No problem.
With
Absolutely.
open arms.
Absolutely. Well, folks, there you have it. Thank you very much, Zach, the Community Development Coordinator for the City of Newton. Choose Newton.
See.
Well, there you have it, folks. And thanks for listening to this episode of Harvey County Talk.
HC Talk is an HCD podcast.
Make sure and reach out to either Sissy or me.
And let us know what you're thinking.
Enjoy your week, everybody.